God forbid. What it means is you have to deflate that ego a little bit. The ego is in the way of allowing the soul to shine through. And therefore, that ego needs to be deflated. It's the concept of bitul, because you're feeling insensitive because of your ego. And in order to get through, you have to realize that you have an animal soul that is covering over the glow of your godly soul. So for a tzaddik, that godly soul is your identity. But for anyone else, like a Beinoni, like me and you, that we strive to be a Beinoni who's struggling and controlling themselves in their thoughts, speech, and action, but is still struggling with that emotions, that feelings of temptation, of lust, of desire, of hate, of envy. Not necessarily are you practicing it, because that would be a rasha, but we're working on it in our feelings, and we're working on it in our mind, and that needs to be worked on. So in order for that to happen properly, successfully, your identity is your animal soul that has to be broken through. It has to be broken up a little bit in order to allow the glow and the shine of the soul in. And in order to do that, you have to look back and see, make a spiritual stock of things that need correction, whether it's what's happening now in your life, or if now you're looking around and you're saying everything is looking fine, then it's perhaps something that was happening in the past. And Barbara, like you shared so beautifully last week, how this really resonated with you. And I was thinking about it. I mentioned it on Shabbos also, how special this was. The idea that even if you did teshuvah is you ask forgiveness for past misdeeds, or from people that you needed to work things out, and you asked for forgiveness. You did teshuvah, and it was accepted. But you have to go back to those times and see if perhaps the teshuvah that was done then and was appropriate then, for now, where you're holding in your maturity and your development, maybe now that teshuvah needs to be upgraded also. And until that teshuvah is upgraded in proportion with your maturity and spiritual development, maybe now you have to go back to that teshuvah time and make sure it's done even better. Sorry, Shira, I missed that. I think it was called Timtum Alev. Yep, you need to break up the coldness of the heart. Exactly. And then now we're going to go to this is another really cool part. Not only do you have to go through and try to correct past misdeeds, because the person could say, I took care of it all. But the fact that you are still in a place of Timtum, you're still feeling dull in your heart. There's something that needs to change. And what we're saying now is also our neutral activities, things that are not forbidden. But still, I should hold myself back. Just because kosher wine is permitted, doesn't mean I should drink a whole case of wine or the whole bottle. Just because a kosher cow is allowed, if it was slaughtered, if it was prepared properly to be kosher, doesn't mean you eat the whole cow. So even indulgence, even if it's permitted and kosher, doesn't mean that I need all of it. So sometimes just indulging ourselves. I'm not saying forbid yourself from things that are important and helpful in your service. I'm just saying things that you're doing as a glutton. Things that, and I'm not saying hurt yourself. I'm not saying deprive yourself. What I'm saying is iskafia. We've had that word before, which means hold yourself back from, even if it's permitted, put it off a little bit. Even if it's allowed, doesn't mean it's required for you to do. And it's controlling yourself even on things that are permitted. And that will take us to chapter 29, section 4. We're going to be on 332. I'll actually start with the practical lesson there. But everyone, please let me just